Over 65% of car mods people install are technically illegal, but that hasn't stopped thousands from doing them anyway. Most drivers think every mod that's illegal is dangerous or reckless, but the truth is, some of them can actually improve performance, efficiency, and even safety. In today's video, we're breaking down 13 illegal mods that are 100% worth the risk, and 5 mods that will absolutely destroy your engine if you're not careful. One of these has been banned in multiple states, yet race teams still use it. Not subscribed yet? Fix that now. Let's jump in. MOD 13, Low-Grade Fuel with Performance Mods. Alright, let's get something straight. If your car is still bone stock, running regular gas might be fine. Boring, but fine. But if you've installed a turbo, tuned your ECU, bumped up compression, or done literally anything that makes your engine work harder, and you're still filling it with 87 octane, congratulations. But seriously, you might lose your engine. Now, I must tell you, this isn't just about fuel economy or saving a few bucks. It's about something worse. This is about knocking, the bad kind, the kind that sounds like marbles in a blender and ends with piston rings in your oil pan. High-performance mods expect high-octane fuel. They're calibrated for it. Running cheap gas in a tuned car is like feeding a prize fighter nothing but gas station hot dogs before a title match. It's gonna go south, violently. Some guys try to be slick and flash their ECUs with race maps, then run pump gas anyway. That's not tuning, that's engine-assisted suicide. Your engine knocks, your ECU pulls timing, you lose power, but if it gets bad enough, you'll throw a rod, crack a piston, or melt something expensive. Want to save money? Cool, don't mod your car. But if you do, treat it like it matters. Buy the good stuff. Because no amount of horsepower is worth standing on the side of the road with a dead car and a $3,000 repair bill. If you think this was bad, wait until you hear about a mod that sounds cool in every Fast and Furious movie, but sometimes turns your daily driver into a sputtering, laggy mess. MOD 12, Aftermarket Blowoff Valves. We get it. That peesh sound is addictive. It's like a high five from your turbo every time you let off the throttle. Who wouldn't want that? But slapping on an aftermarket blow-off valve just for the sound? That's like buying a guitar just to look cool at a party without learning how to play it. First of all, some of these blow-off valves are technically illegal, especially the ones that vent straight to the atmosphere in emissions-regulated areas. Your car came with a recirculating valve for a reason. The system is closed loop. You're venting air the ECU thinks is still there. That means rich fuel conditions, misfires, hesitation, and sometimes actual damage. Oh, and did we mention lag? Because nothing says performance mod like stomping the throttle and waiting a full second for boost to show up again. Congrats! Your car now performs like a confused potato. Cheap blow-off valves are even worse. They leak, they stick, and sometimes they stay open just long enough to ruin your whole boost cycle. You lose power, burn more fuel, and confuse the hell out of your ECU. Is the sound worth it? Maybe, if you're going for attention in a Taco Bell parking lot. But if you're serious about performance, stick to quality parts that actually work with your setup. Not against it. Now, if you thought that was weird, wait till we talk about the guys who delete Rev Limiters like they're removing training wheels from a chainsaw. MOD 11, Removed Rev Limiters. Rev Limiters are annoying. You're feeling the power, chasing red line, and then, bam, the ECU cuts fuel or spark and the party ends. It's like being yanked off stage right before the guitar solo. So what do some people do? They delete it. No limiter, no mercy, no common sense. Now you can rev to 9,000 RPM in a car designed for 6,500. Sounds fun, right? Sure, right up until your valves float, your timing chain snaps, or your pistons decide they've had enough of vertical motion and would like to explore the sky instead. Rev limiters exist for a reason, and no, it's not to ruin your fun. It's to keep your rotating internals inside the engine block. When you remove that safety net, You're trusting your foot and your delay-prone human brain to save your engine every single time. Guess what? You won't. Miss a shift? Over-rev, forget to let off? Over-rev, decide to show off on TikTok? Exploded engine and 500,000 views. Also, this mod is technically illegal in many states because it tampers with factory-set emission and safety controls. It can also mess with OBD2 readings and throw up red flags during inspections. So yeah, removing your rev limiter might make you feel like Dom Toretto. But Dom had a stunt double. You don't. Coming up next is a launch control mod that seems innocent until your clutch taps out like it's in a UFC match. Trust me, nobody wants that. MOD 10, launch control hacks. Let's say you've got a sporty car, maybe a little turbo, a good tune, and just enough torque to spin the tires when nobody's looking. Now imagine you find a hack, a hidden setting, or an aftermarket flash that unlocks launch control. Instant drag racer, right? Except you're not on a track. You're in a grocery store parking lot with bald tires and a clutch that's been crying for weeks. Launch control sounds awesome. Rev to 4,000, dump the clutch, and blast off. But here's the truth. Nobody tells you. Your drivetrain hates it. Every single time you drop the hammer, your clutch, flywheel, axles, and transmission scream in agony. Even factory launch control systems are hard on components. But when you start unlocking it through sketchy flashes or installing plug-and-play modules to trick your ECU, you're dancing in a minefield. And yeah, tampering with manufacturer software is illegal in many states, especially if it disables emissions-related behavior or alters the way your car handles torque limiting. Best case, you get a cool launch once in a while and nothing breaks. Worst case, your clutch turns into burnt toast, your axles twist like licorice, and your fast start ends in the slow lane waiting for a tow truck. If you're track racing, sure, go for it. But on the street, you're just burning rubber and burning money, mostly yours. And talking about burning money, there is one turbo mod that seems like an easy way to go faster until you accidentally turn your engine into a ticking time bomb. MOD 9. Overboost mods. Turbo pressure hacks. Overboost mods are like giving your turbo a shot of espresso and telling it to ignore the laws of physics. You crank up the PSI with a cheap controller, ignore fuel tuning, and boom! You're hitting boost targets your pistons were never invited to. Some guys use manual boost controllers. Others do it with a sketchy tune or an eBay solenoid. Either way, you're bypassing factory safety systems that were put there to stop you from melting your entire engine. Yes, it works, for a while. You'll feel the surge, hear the turbo whine like it just woke up from a nap. It feels amazing. Then your air-fuel ratios go lean, your exhaust temps spike, your head gasket starts praying. And then comes the big moment, detonation. That's when combustion gets so hot and fast, it doesn't wait for the spark plug. It just explodes, prematurely, like a bad date. Your rods will be bent, your turbo will become roast, and your wallet will eventually become empty. And because you're messing with emissions and bypassing fail-safes, it's definitely illegal in most states. You'll fail inspection before you even get out of the driveway. So yeah, overboosting might make your car feel like a rocket ship, but it's a rocket without a parachute. But if you don't like rockets, there's a mod that's not explosive, just annoying as hell to everyone else on the road. MOD 8, NonDOT headlights. You know the look, bright blue headlights that could double as a stadium floodlight, usually seen in lifted pickups or sketchy Civics on back roads at 2 a.m. You see, non-DOT approved headlights are technically illegal, and honestly, they are kind of obnoxious. Sure, they look cool in photos, that icy blue glow, the I saw this in Fast and Furious 2 vibe. But there's a reason the Department of Transportation regulates headlights, and that reason is you're blinding people. These aftermarket bulbs often have poorly focused beams, no proper cutoff, and scatter light everywhere, especially into the eyes of oncoming traffic. And guess what? When drivers get blinded, they panic. And when they panic, they crash. So not only is this mod illegal in nearly every state, it's also dangerously dumb. It doesn't help you see better. It just makes everyone else angry and disoriented, like a rave with no music. Oh, and those ultra-bright LED or HED retrofits you stick into a halogen housing? Also illegal, also garbage. They scatter light, create hotspots, and often overheat, damaging your housing or wiring. Still want better visibility? Upgrade to DOT-approved LED kits with proper projectors. They're bright, safe, and won't get you pulled over every 3 miles. Because the only thing worse than getting ticketed is being that guy on the highway. The one people flash their brights at because you turned your Civic into a lighthouse. Next up is a mod that's sneaky, subtle, and surprisingly good for your engine if you don't mind breaking a few EPA rules. MOD 7. Deleted EGR systems. Let's talk about EGR. Exhaust gas recirculation. Sounds boring, right? That's because it is. It's an emissions system that reroutes some exhaust gases back into your intake to reduce nitrogen oxide emissions. So, here's the deal. A lot of people delete it. And when they do, the intake stays cleaner, the combustion temps run cooler, and the engine feels like it's breathing better. Some diesel guys swear it's the first mod you should do, but this mod is 100% illegal in most countries. Tampering with emissions controls is a huge no-no. If you delete your EGR and live somewhere that checks emissions, you'll fail inspections so fast the scanner might burst into flames. Not to mention, it can trigger check engine lights, and in some cars, it sends the ECU into limp mode. That means less power, less fun, and more confused looks as you try to explain why your car now drives like a lawnmower. Also, deleting EGR doesn't magically fix every issue. You might improve airflow, but you also risk increasing cylinder pressure, which can cause premature wear if you haven't adjusted your tuning. Want to delete EGR and gain some efficiency? Cool, but do it on a track car, not your daily commuter. Just be ready to flash your ECU, tune it properly, and deal with the legal gray area. Because while your engine might thank you in the short run, your local DMV won't. And speaking of things that look cool but carry consequences, wait till you see the mod that literally lets you change your car's personality for better or worse. MOD 6. Piggyback tuners. Piggyback tuners are like the side hustle of performance mods. You don't fully commit to a standalone ECU or a full flash. You just add a little box that tricks your sensors and fools your engine into giving you more power. Seems clever, right? Until your car realizes it's been gaslit. Piggybacks intercept signals like throttle input, boost pressure, fuel trim, and send fake data to the ECU. The goal? Fool the system into adding more fuel, more boost, or different ignition timing. The result? Sometimes you get more power, sometimes, well, let's say you get a flashing check engine light and an engine that knocks harder than a repo man on payday. The problem is, these things often don't play nice with modern ECUs. Your car constantly adjusts itself based on feedback from sensors, and when that feedback is nonsense, things go sideways fast. Fuel economy tanks, reliability nosedives, and if your piggyback doesn't manage AFRs properly, you're gonna melt a piston and not even know it until it's too late. Oh, and legality? Questionable. Any device that alters emissions-related behavior can make your car fail a smog test, even if it doesn't throw a code. It's a stealth mod until your state's OBD system catches on. If you want safe tuning, go with a full ECU reflash done by someone who knows what they're doing. Piggybacks might be cheaper, but so is instant coffee, and you don't see anyone bragging about that. MOD 5. Straight pipe exhausts. Let's be honest, straight piping your exhaust feels rebellious. No muffler, no catalytic converter, no shame. Just raw sound and a borderline criminal decibel level. It's the kind of mod that makes you feel like you're going faster than you are. Even if you're just putting around a parking lot at 15 miles an hour, the sound is unreal. It's loud, aggressive, and completely unapologetic. Cold starts will wake the dead. Downshifts sound like gunshots. People will stare, sometimes in fear, sometimes in admiration. But here's the thing, straight pipes are illegal in most places. Why? Because they remove essential emissions equipment like your catalytic converter and mufflers. That means you're polluting more and violating noise ordinances every time you fire up. Also, let's talk about back pressure. Some engines actually rely on a bit of it to run smoothly. When you yank everything out and go full straight pipe, you might lose torque at lower RPMs. That's right, your car could sound like it's pushing 600 horsepower, while actually losing power where you need it most. And did we mention the drone? Oh yeah, that constant, unbearable, headache-inducing wah sound that never stops. Hope you like shouting during phone calls. Look, straight pipes are fun. They're simple, they're loud, but they're also the automotive equivalent of lighting a firework in a bathroom. Very cool, but not so smart. If you're building a track car, go nuts. But on the street, you're one pullover away from a ticket, a fine, or a really awkward conversation with a cop who just had lunch. Coming up next is a super common mod that pretends to give you power but might actually be robbing you blind. MOD4, cold air intakes, the cheap ones. Everyone loves a cold air intake. It's one of the first mods people do. You get a cool engine bay look, a slightly louder throttle, and maybe a few extra ponies. But then there's the $39 special from totallynotarealbrand.com. These cheap cold air intakes promise everything. Power gains, better fuel economy, more throttle response, and the ability to impress your cousin who once saw a car show on TV. In reality, they often do more harm than good. Poorly designed piping can increase intake temps. The filters are junk. They let in debris, mess with MAF sensor readings, and can trigger CELs. Some setups even suck in hot engine bay air, completely defeating the purpose. And when it rains, good luck. Some cheap setups draw air from so low in the bumper, they become vacuum cleaners for puddles. One deep splash, and boom, welcome to Hydrolock. Your engine just inhaled water, and that's a one-way trip to the scrapyard. Also, emissions laws are strict about intake modifications in certain states like California. If your shiny eBay special doesn't have a carb sticker, you're out of luck come inspection time. If you want a cold air intake, buy one from a real company that's actually tested it. Otherwise, you're paying for noise and engine bay clutter. What's coming next is a mod that makes you go fast in a straight line until your engine goes sideways in a junkyard. MOD3, Nitrous Oxide Kits. Nitrous, the OG go fast button. The very mention of it makes people quote fast and furious lines like they're reading scripture. Hit the switch and your car goes from meh to did I just time travel? It's real, it's powerful, and it's also one of the riskiest mods you can bolt onto a car. Nitrous oxide works by injecting extra oxygen into the combustion chamber, which allows more fuel to be burned, creating massive power spikes. But here's the problem. Your engine wasn't built for this. Unless you've upgraded your pistons, rods, valves, gaskets, fuel system, and ECU, you're gambling every time you hit the button. If you have stock internals, kiss 'em goodbye. Maybe you've got a weak fuel pump. Prepare for detonation. Too big of a shot? You might hear your engine scream, and then go completely silent. And legality? In most states, it's illegal to drive on public roads with an active nitrous system. You can have the kit installed, but if that bottle is hooked up and pressurized, say hello to a hefty fine or a car impound. There's also the oops factor. One wiring mistake, one leaky solenoid, and you've got a ticking time bomb under your hood. Don't get us wrong, when done right, Nitrous is crazy effective. But done right means serious money, professional tuning, and the willingness to rebuild your engine when things go sideways. Otherwise, you're just strapping a jetpack to a lawnmower and hoping for the best. Next, a mod that should make your car faster, but has probably blown more engines than it's helped. MOD2, Aftermarket ECU Tunes. Tuning your ECU is like giving your car a new brain, one that's smarter, faster, and just a little more dangerous. It's one of the most popular mods out there, and when done right, it can totally transform your ride. But when done wrong, oh boy, a bad tune can cause more chaos than a madman with a hammer. We're talking overheating, knocking, misfires, overboost, melted pistons, destroyed turbos, and enough check engine lights to start a disco. The worst part? Most people don't know they have a bad tune until something breaks. Cheap flash tunes are everywhere online. Guaranteed 30 horsepower, they say. What they don't tell you is they've tested it on one car in one condition, and now you're playing Russian roulette with your motor. Some tuners also completely disable safety protocols, Rev Limiters, knock sensors, boost cutoffs, because hey, why let the car protect itself, right? And yes, it's illegal. Tuning your car to bypass emission systems, delete codes, or increase fuel delivery outside EPA limits is a big fat no-no. If you're caught, you're facing fines, failed inspections, and possibly even voided warranties. Want real performance? Get a tune from someone who knows your engine, your mods, and your goals, not from some forum user named BoostedBro69. Next up, the final illegal mod-E, probably the most loved, the most hated, and the one that might just be worth it. MOD1, Catless downpipes, the sweet smell of horsepower and trouble. There's a certain smell that lets you know someone doesn't care about emissions, a spicy, slightly metallic scent that says, "I chose violence and torque." That's the smell of a Catless downpipe. Swapping your stock downpipe for a Catless one is like ripping the muzzle off your engine. Suddenly, the turbo breathes better, spool time drops, and the exhaust note goes from meow to rah real quick. You can gain 20 to 30 horsepower just by letting those hot gases escape without restriction. But it's illegal in most places. Why? Because it deletes your catalytic converter, which is responsible for filtering out the nasty stuff in your exhaust, hydrocarbons, nitrogen oxides, and all the gases that make birds fall out of the sky. Still, people do it. A lot. Why? Because performance gains are real, and most inspection stations don't exactly crawl under your car with a flashlight. Plus, if you combine it with a tune, you're looking at smoother power delivery and possibly better fuel economy, assuming you can resist flooring it every 5 minutes. But, and this is a big but, it'll throw a check engine light, and your car might fail emissions testing, assuming your state checks. Also, some setups run so rich they leave little black kisses of soot on your bumper like your car's been making out with a chimney. So, worth it? Totally. If you don't mind playing hide and seek with the law, and you're okay with occasionally smelling like molten pennies. So, what's your take on these mods? Are you already rocking any of them, or thinking of risking your engine for a little extra thrill? We want to hear from you. Drop your thoughts down in the comments. While you're at it, go ahead and smash that like button, hit subscribe, and join a growing community of riders who live for machines, mods, and the open road. Don't stop here. There's another video waiting for you right now. Click on the left, and I'll meet you on the other side.